Hello, YouTube. How you doing? I was getting my lights turned on. Hello. How's it going? How's everybody doing? Hello. Happy Tuesday. Tits out on a Tuesday. Oh Lord. Oh Lord. Hello. Let me I can already sense that let me just respond to this and then I'll be right. Oh, because we're gonna talk about what I'm responding to. So hold on. Hold on to your hats. Strap in, kids. Okay. Which reminds me, on this computer, I'm going to close Facebook because otherwise there's a chance that my Facebook is going to be blowing the fuck up tonight. And oh my, oh my, oh my, oh my. How are we doing? My name is Janessa and I'm North Dakota's trash queen of glam, geek, and gore. And here I am once again in the lovely Champagne Dreams Productions home office. I'm in the home office for once. Also known as the Mama Champagne Commemorative Rose Room. Is that, so we had a discussion about this because initially I had thought the Mama Champagne Memorial Rose Room, but that's if somebody's dead. Can you commemorate if somebody is still alive? I don't know. I don't know the rules. I don't know how that works. Hello, Dion. How are you doing? Oh, I almost called you tonight, Dion, but then I was like, you have a lot of life trauma. Why not make it content? Is this content? It's going to be. Oh, today has been a day. Today has been a day, the day, every day. Hello, Don. How's it going? Today has just been wild. Before this is all over, I probably will still call you at some point because this is wild. You are going to see. So today has been the day of all days, and we're going to talk about it because two crazy things happened to me. Like two crazy big things happened today, all within one day. Like already, hello, CJ, how's it going? So there's all the usual stuff, right? Like my job has been a little bit of a clusterfuck since January, since we had the big layoff and teams got shifted around and we're like trying to adjust to new teams and new people and like there's new priorities and every time we turn around there's new goals and new processes, and it's just like it's overwhelming. And then this week, so starting on Monday, so I do video production. We had 4 producers. In the layoffs, we lost 1 producer and our manager and got moved to another team. Now another one of our producers just went on paternity leave this week. He was here on Friday, no longer here on Monday. So we are down 50% of what we were last year. Like our team is down 50%. And the work somehow has not slowed to 50% of the work. And in fact, we were in the middle of a couple of really big, like full team projects that our manager and the producer that was laid off were like running. And so then we had to be like, oh shit, somebody's got to do that. I guess it's us. So that's been a little bit wild. So things have been wild already. And so things have been a little crazy. So today, as I was waiting for a video to process, as I sometimes do, because I have to sit, my computer is very persnickety. So if I'm processing a video on my work computer, I cannot do anything else on that computer for risk of it like corrupting the file and I have to do it all over again and it's a big mess. So I pulled out my phone, I open it up, and what's one of the first things that I see? Somebody that I used to work with has just been arrested on 3 felony counts of child essay material. And this is somebody that like I had worked with him a couple of times, but I really knew his wife because his wife was on the training team that I was on, and I adore her. She's lovely. We're going to talk about her in a little bit, but she is lovely and wonderful. We had some interesting exchanges, but she was there. I had a manager for 2 years that I always have to give this disclaimer because I'm worried that people are going to think that I'm one of those people who likes to misuse therapy terms because people always like misuse like different therapy things. I'm telling you, I am convinced she was a sociopath. And she and I were on that team together when we were being managed by this sociopath. And So like we're trauma bonded. So we like have been very close. When our like US based team shut down, we got moved to a different team together. And so we kind of like weathered that storm together. And then I eventually moved to the video team, and she a little later decided she had some health problems and decided to retire. And so she's lovely. Now they are both very religious. They're from Tennessee. And so she certainly had some moments where she was trying to like proselytize to me. And yeah, I know everybody's like, what? Like heads exploding. And so, but she's always been lovely to me. And she's never been like openly judgmental. Like there's always been a little bit of an undercurrent of like, you know, always like, I'll pray for you or whatever. And that has never bothered me. If people say, like some people like say it in like a threatening way of like, I'm going to pray for you. And I'm like, bitch, you better pray for yourself right now. Like we're going to go. But she would just always like, I'm praying for you. Like, I love you, all this kind of stuff. She's very affectionate. And she just very lovely. And we did have some kind of deep conversations, and we, you know, kind of agreed to disagree and said, you know, we're not going to talk too deeply about some of those topics because we know we will disagree. And we are just going to maintain a professional boundary, but that we care about each other. And so, of course, I had to text her. So I had 50,000 things to do, but I was like, I just make videos. I make like corporate training videos. Like this is more important to me than sitting here and making a video. So I just like pushed away from my computer for a little bit, and I texted her and we had a conversation, and she kind of told me how she's doing, and she's very appreciative. And I'm glad that she seems to have a good support system around her, and you know, all of that kind of stuff, because I do care about her. I do. Her husband, I've always liked her husband. If you had asked me before this all came out, if I thought that he would ever do this, I would have said absolutely not. When it comes out, I mean, am I surprised? No. I'm at the point now where so many allegations about so many men who present themselves a certain way have come out that I'm not surprised. Like I certainly don't discount it. I'm not one of those people who's going to immediately go like, no, that's not the person I know, because that's not the person I know. But I also know that like people don't show us everything. Right. And so I've known him for a long time. I've known him as long as I know her. When I was a trainer, he was a mentor in some of the classes with me. So was she before she became a trainer. And so I care very deeply for them. I know they have a large family. And so I definitely am sending out a lot of like love and care to all of them, because I know that this has to be absolutely, absolutely devastating. And so that was kind of like the first thing that kind of knocked me for a loop today was that. And like I said, I'm glad that I got a chance to talk to her. I'm glad that I got to know that she was all right, because I do have a lot of affection for her. And you know, we're trauma bonded, so I had to check in on her. Then let's get some backstory. So I've been a performer. I'm coming up on my 25th drag anniversary. December 1st, 2001 was my very first ever drag show. Now, before that, I used to just like dress up and look terrible and go to house parties. Like I knew all of the little like punk kids that hung out downtown in this little Pillsbury Park. If anybody was in a band, I probably knew them and would go and party at their house or whatever. And I would just go buy like whatever horrible Mother of the Bride dress was on clearance in my size at Sears. And, you know, I had a bunch of Walmart makeup, and I would buy $5 tinsel wigs from Spencer's. Was it multiple counts on the same person or different? So it's 3 people. I didn't have a lot of information. The initial report that I saw it just said 3 counts or whatever. Now that I've gotten into it, it's very interesting, because apparently it sounds like what happened is that they searched like his phone and other things, because he used some sort of AI program to take pictures of 2 real minors, age 14 and 16, and put them into like sexual situations. And the one report that I saw said like sexual images of a minor with an adult. So I don't know if it was pictures with himself, with someone else. That I don't know. And I didn't, obviously I'm not going to inquire on that. That's as much as I know, is that it was AI generated images using photos of real people to create these simulated sexual things. So yeah, so it's like I just can't escape AI in my life either. So I've been a drag performer for 25 years, for a long time. I was a show director at a bar in Moorhead twice. I was a show director there for a while. They shut down. They decided to reopen. I was their show director again, and then they shut down again. It was a whole thing. But I've also been a show director for 20 years for the capital city, Bismarck. They have an advocacy organization called Dakota Outright. I have been the show director for the Dakota Outright shows from before Dakota Outright existed, because actually before it was Dakota Outright, it was Dakota Good Friends. And it was actually just somebody that I knew when I was a freshman, a first semester student. I went to my first 10% Society meeting when I was first coming out, and I met my friend Corey through that group, who was in medical school at the time. So he was only there for that first year that I was there. And then, so I met Corey, and then he went off to medical school. He was in medical school. He went off to residency or whatever. And I had kind of lost touch with him. And then it was around 2005 where he contacted me and he said, hey, I'm part of this group. I moved back to Bismarck. I'm in this group called Dakota Good Friends, and we've been having dances at this place in Mandan. Mandan and Bismarck are like one of those like river cities where on one side it's Bismarck, one side it's Mandan. And so we've been doing them at this place called The Post in Mandan. Would you ever come out here and do a show? Like, would you ever do a show? And I was like, sure. And so I came out and came to one of their dances just to see like how the room was set up and talk them through like what I thought we needed to do and like how we could make it all come together. And like, we need any more arguments against AI art? Exactly. Which is such a weird like legal kind of thing about like how I'm so interested in the law around that, but yeah, that is a good aside. And so I came out and saw it, and we started doing shows, and it blew up. It grew very quickly. There's, especially in very conservative places like Bismarck, there's always an audience when something comes to town that's not the like Miller Lite rodeo or monster trucks or a church thing. Like, people come out of the woodwork. So like it was very successful. It raised a lot of money. It raised a lot of money for charities, all this kind of stuff. And so I have been their show director. I've been named their champion of pride 2 different occasions. Once was about, I wonder if I have that sitting somewhere. I have the plaque. I haven't found a place to hang it up yet. I don't know where I put it. Clearly I am so proud of it that I have to put it up everywhere, but I can't remember exactly when it was. So if we started in like 2005, 2006, it would have been probably like 2010. So it would have been like fairly early on as it was growing. And then again, just a couple years ago, so we had the big year where the group was like doxing all the drag performers, and we were getting death threats and all this kind of stuff. And then I was named champion of pride the next year, because if people threaten you with a gun and you don't die, they have to give you a plaque. It's in the bylaws somewhere. I don't know how it is. But so I'm joking about it, and I'm kind of being self-deprecating, but I have given a lot to that organization. I've given a lot of blood, sweat, and tears, and literally, showing up when people are making violent death threats. Like at one point that summer got real bad. That was the summer that all the drag bands really started to like pick up and come up all around the country. And like, there were some ugly, nasty, terrible. I was on the phone with the police a lot. At one point, I talked to somebody from the FBI. Like, it was bad news. It was bad news. And I have to say that, like, and it's not just me. I'm not tooting my own horn here. I will say that summer, for that Pride, not a single performer canceled out on any of those shows. So we had a show. We had like an all ages brunch, and then we had a show at the state capitol. I was the first drag performer to ever perform on the steps of the Capitol, and it was miserable because it was like 98 degrees and 30-mile-an-hour gusts of wind. But I was the first. I was the first one. I opened the show. I was the first one to like step on those steps. And so all of this to say, this is not, again, just me bragging or like tooting my own horn. All of this to say is that today I got fired. So the organization, the last like main president, stepped down in 2023, and things have been kind of deteriorating since then. And so they've gotten some people who are much less interested in activism, much less interested in like community work and shit like that. And so it's been something. I do have to say that like I've been thinking about my exit strategy for a while. And so it's been in my mind to like walk away from that show for a little bit, but I've been hanging on because I'm like, maybe they'll turn it around. I still care about this community. I've put in a lot of work. I've put in a lot of time. And so I'm okay. Thank you, CJ. I am. I mean, I always joking about things is kind of my mechanism, my coping mechanism, and writing about it. We'll talk about Facebook because that's why Facebook was blown up. And so I had been reaching out to them. I've been trying to get a hold of them for like 2 months now because people in Bismarck, like the performers in Bismarck, always want me to start like ridiculously early. Like a show is coming up in June. They'll message me in January and be like, have you started putting together the show? And I'm like, bitch, do you know what day it is? Do you know what month it is? Like, do you know what's happening? I don't have time to be planning a June show in January, but thank you. Please reach out to me months from now. But like people always want me to get started super early so they can have everything in place or whatever. So for the last couple of months, I've been trying to like reach out to them and be like, hey, do you have any information about what's going on for Pride? Like, do you have a date? Do you have a venue? Like, what's going on? And they kept talking to me as if everything was fine. And they kept like putting me off, or they would just ignore and the message wouldn't get answered for like a couple of weeks. And they'd be like, oh, sorry, we missed this. We're having a meeting on Tuesday. Can we tell you after that? And then I never hear anything. And I would reach out and they'd be like, oh, sorry, we haven't had a chance to vote and all this kind of stuff. So like all this kind of like back and forth. So today I was like, today I got a message. And the person said, let me even just pull it up here. It's so stupid. Where is it? So many things in my, because like I said, I've been trying to get this like response. And then they had posted a thing about like calling all drag performers. I'm like, I'm the show director. That's what I do. So, and so on Sunday, I had said like, hey, I wanted to check in about the show on the 13th. I saw a post for drag performers. Is that about a show on the 13th or a different event? I have a planning group where I post for performers, blah, blah, blah. I'm wondering if there's a disconnect. So today they wrote and they said, I just checked back on this and the response didn't send via the web. My goddess, technology is a pain. I'm so sorry for the response. Late as she is still here. But then they didn't post the fucking response. And so I waited like, let's see how long I waited. It doesn't really say. But I said, I still don't see a response. I said, there was a response on April 27th. Is that what you mean? Or is their later update not appearing? So then at 6 o'clock, I did that like 4:45. At 6 o'clock, they said, okay, sorry, here we go. And then they gave me this bullshit AI response. I mean, so many people in the comments of my Facebook post, which we'll talk about in a minute, have called out the fact that this is AI bullshit. And so it said, okay, sorry, here we go. First, thank you so much for your time, your energy, and your willingness to be a part of Capital Pride 2026. It genuinely means a lot that you showed up for our community. After careful consideration, the Dakota Outright Board has made the difficult decision to go in a different direction for the MC role at this year's Rooted in Pride drag show. This was not an easy conversation, and it was not made lightly. We've heard consistent feedback from community members over the past 2 years who felt that the political commentary during performances, while well-intentioned, was leaving some attendees feeling overwhelmed rather than celebrated. Our goal for Pride has always been to create a space where people can simply exhale, be seen, and feel joy. For many in our community, that means a night that centers performance, laughter, and belonging, not the weight of the current climate, which they carry every single day already. We want Pride to be a refuge. And we want every person who walks through those doors to leave feeling lighter than when they came in. This decision is about protecting the space, not a reflection of your talent, your passion, or your commitment to this community. Those things are real and we see them. We hope you'll still consider being part of Pride 2026 in another capacity, and we'd love to celebrate alongside you on June 12th through 14th. With gratitude and respect, Dakota Outright Board, Capital City Pride 2026, and then they gave me the website. Let me tell you, the way that I saw red, the way that I am a mouthy drag queen, like that, it reads so much like AI. It's so gross. It's absolutely disgusting. So I was like, do we just like stay silent? I'm like, absolutely not. Because that political commentary, I know exactly what they're talking about. Because every time I do a show in Bismarck, I am known, and this is not the majority of the show. Usually what happens is somewhere in the first three numbers, I do what I call taking them to church. And we have a little, it's maybe like 5, 6, maybe 10 minutes where we talk about what's going on in the world and about how we need to support our trans and non-binary community members. We need to be better about supporting our queer people of color. We need to call out people who are voting against our rights and then expecting to come to a drag show and just be entitled to free entertainment from queer performers and not be made uncomfortable. I get that message every time I do a show down there. Somebody messages me to be like, I didn't pay for politics. And it's like, you got politics when you voted against your own community. I'm so sorry. If you feel uncomfortable about what I've said at the show, good. So I was immediately like incensed. And so let me read you my response. I was like, no, I think not. We're not going to put up with that. And so let me see. So my phone has been blowing up tonight. Let me tell you, on the way home from the office, I stopped by the grocery store and got Ben and Jerry's because I was like, this is gonna be a moment. This is gonna be a moment. So this is my response. It's very long. I'm so sorry, but I'm long-winded. I'm a mouthy drag queen on the internet. So I said, can we have a chat about Bismarck Pride? This is a long one, but it's important, so I hope you will read it and sit with it. Let's get this out of the way. I will not be taking part in this year's Dakota Outright Pride celebration in Bismarck. After repeated attempts to contact the current board members to get clarity on the event, I was finally told they were going a different direction for their MC this year. And the reason for this is we've heard consistent feedback from community members over the past 2 years that they felt the political commentary during performances, while well-intentioned, was leaving some attendees feeling overwhelmed rather than celebrated. Let's set aside the fact that I was not merely the MC for these shows. I was the show director and have been for 2 decades. In fact, I was the show director before Dakota Outright even existed. The group initially started as a social group called Dakota Good Friends, who were hosting community dances out at the Post in Mandan. A friend from college who was active with the group at the time asked me if I would be willing to come and help them put together shows as part of the dances. I was happy to do so and continued to support the group and their shows over the years, from the Post to the Doublewood, now the Ramada, the Ramkota, the Civic Center, the Radisson, and probably a few other venues that I've forgotten before the more recent shows at the Bell Mayhews. So backstory to that is that these shows have kind of bounced around to different locations because Bismarck is very conservative. And so like someone on their staff would be really excited and be like, let's have this at our hotel. And then we would go there and they would make a bunch of money. And then all of a sudden somebody new would come in and they'd be like, heathens, get them out of here. So we were always bouncing around to different locations. So that's why there probably are other hotels that I can't remember at this point, but I tried to name as many as I could. But let's talk about my political commentary, shall we? I've been known to take people to church at the beginning of the show. I'm not ashamed of that, and I stand behind every word. The content of my political stances is that it is absolutely necessary that we be allies for each other, especially for our trans and non-binary community members, that while queer people have a responsibility to engage with our own privilege, because the queer and trans people of color in our communities deserve better than to be left behind in the wake of our complacency, and that if you are one of those LGBT no T queers, that group, if you don't know what that is, we'll talk about that later, then your stance is not only disgusting, self-serving trash, but you are also actively harmful to others in your own community. If those statements make you feel uncomfortable at one of my shows, good. There are some people who seem to think they are entitled to queer entertainment regardless of how they treat queer people in the real world. And I'm here to say that you absolutely are not. Further, I'm surprised that Dakota Outright, one of the largest LGBTQIA+ advocacy organizations in the state, would find anything objectionable about those statements. Why would they take issue with commentary that was by no means the majority of the content of any of these shows that highlights the intersection of homophobia, transphobia, and white supremacy? I know exactly what kind of feedback they're talking about because I've gotten all of that mess hurled at me in DMs on social media and shady comments under posts. If I had a nickel for every time I've received a message from a white queer conservative about how I didn't pay to come here politics and it's not fair to exclude me because of who I voted for, I'd have a nice big chunk of change. I haven't changed my message up until now, and I won't be changing it in the future. If you actively vote to harm your own community, I think you should feel some discomfort in queer spaces. Maybe instead of complaining about how you should be entitled to not suffer any repercussions for your choices, you should sit with that discomfort and think about how you show up or don't for the most vulnerable members of your community. And believe me, that kind of feedback is the least of it. The death threats are a little bit worse. I've included the photo from Bismarck Pride a few years ago when that sleazy right-wing group was doxing performers and planning protests. If you don't know who I'm talking about, you can message me privately, but I'm not going to give their name any more airtime. I was one of the first performers to be doxed. I received a large number of death threats leading up to that Pride, and I spent a lot of time on the phone with law enforcement that summer. But despite all of the threats to the performers, to the organizer and venue of the drag brunch, not a single performer canceled for the all-ages brunch or for the show on the Capitol steps. This is the dedication that I've brought to these shows, and 25 years as a performer in the This is the dedication that I've brought to these shows, and 25 years as a performer in the conservative climate of North Dakota is what shapes the commentary I bring to my stage persona. It's that dedication that has led to Dakota Outright naming me a champion of Pride 2 times. From their message to me, this decision is about protecting that space, not a reflection of your talent, your passion, or your commitment to this community. That dedication is apparently also something that the new members of the Dakota Outright Board, most of whom have very little tenure due to a high rate of turnover in recent years, feel that their events need to be protected from. They sign their message with gratitude and respect when their actions show neither. No one from Dakota Outright has ever reached out to me with these concerns. If they had, I would have made my position clear, and then a parting of the ways would have been a very different conversation. Instead, I was ghosted and put off, told to wait for updates that never came, and then finally given this abrupt dismissal a mere month before the planned show date. Those actions do not show any gratitude or respect, and they speak volumes about who the current board members of Dakota Outright are and who they value and don't within our community. I have never claimed to be perfect, and there are going to be people who don't like what I do, what I say, or how I present myself on or off the stage. That's absolutely fine. I get it. I'm a mouthy drag queen with a lot of opinions, but I am not going to apologize for being vocal about supporting trans and non-binary people, for challenging white queers to engage with their privilege, and to call out queer conservatives who continue to support a party that is actively making life harder and in some places unlivable for trans people. Trans people are increasingly being excluded from public life. We've gone from bathrooms and high school sports teams to people having their driver's licenses invalidated, making it even harder for a vulnerable population that already faces immense employment discrimination to make a living, and restrictions on life-saving, gender-affirming medical care for both minors and adults. And I'm supposed to care if people who voted for that feel uncomfortable during 5 to 10 minutes of commentary at one of my shows? That's where I wanted to say, fuck right off, but I didn't, kept it profesh. That's not what I represent, and I'm deeply disappointed that Dakota Outright has decided this is what they represent. I will not be taking them up on their offer to celebrate 2026 Pride with them in any other capacity, and I will not be supporting any programming presented by them for the foreseeable future if this is what they are choosing to prioritize in terms of who in our community deserves to be protected. I would like to thank Corey, who first reached out to me to begin the partnership with Dakota Good Friends, Dan and Ron, who were the group's first leaders, as well as all of the other amazing people I've had the opportunity to work with, including a plethora of amazing, talented performers who have shared their gifts on the stage over the last 2 decades. And of course, to the audiences, I feel so blessed to have met so many of you and shared our time together. And to those who showed up and felt seen by my words, know that you are loved and appreciated, and you deserve better. And with that, I included, let me show you. So I included this picture. This is the one, this is me performing on the steps of the Capitol. My wig had blown off in those 30-mile-an-hour, it like tumbled like a tumbleweed. And so somebody snapped a picture and it ended up on this like regional news magazine, the High Plains Reader. And so that's the picture that I included. And then I included their entire message. So that message that I read earlier, let's see. No, wrong way. I included, sorry, it's all blown out, but I included their whole message because I was like, none of these people are going to come back and say I misquoted them or I didn't give context. I posted their entire message. And then just because I like to be a little bit of a provocateur and I had to edit out all the F words that I wanted to say, I put in this picture of me from a photo shoot where I was holding up a devil mask because I am apparently their devil. So sorry, I wanted to get all through that because it's so long. So I was like, I'm not even going to look at the chat. Good for you. Thank you, Dion. I appreciate that. Well, despite not being in your area, thank you for, yes, you're absolutely welcome. Hopefully you emailed that to a bunch of people. So I posted that on Facebook. That was my Facebook response. I posted it directly. I have like 39, 70 something friends. It's gone down a lot with the last couple of election cycles. We've definitely booted a lot of people off. And then I like shared it to people's messenger, like all my performer friends, all my other show director friends. I was like, we're going to get this out there. So I did email to a bunch of people. You know, too, the discomfort they get from not wanting to hear politics, isn't it equal to the discomfort inflicted for some of us existing? Exactly. Good. Fucking be uncomfortable. 100%, CJ. Absolutely. They should be ashamed of themselves. They do need to let your words marinate for. Yeah, I hope it leads to something good. Birth certificate corrections, passports, military careership are all threatened, if not. Yeah. It's wild. And they don't understand that voting for that should make you uncomfortable in queer spaces. How dare you? You should feel shame. That day that was really hot. Yeah, it was 98 degrees and 30. And let me tell you, so there's maybe a little bit of revisionist history here because that day where we performed on the steps of the Capitol, I opened the show and it was so uncomfortable. And the people who had like set it up, they had a trailer for us to change like half a parking lot away. And I'm the MC. So I have 3 minutes while somebody's on stage for me to run somewhere and try to change. And it was so hot and so uncomfortable. I went to the DJ and I just told him, I was like, I'm not doing my second song. I was like, it's because I was first. I opened it. And so I opened it and then I sat on the fucking steps. And I took the wig off because the 30-mile-an-hour, I just had hair in my face the whole time. So I just sat there with no wig on and I just announced people like shotgun drag. Like I was trying to go so fast. I was like, this is so hot. It's so uncomfortable. Nobody should be here. The people who showed up in like real full drag, bless them. Azalea Iman Diamond, should be sainted. She was in like elaborate drag. It was insane. It was hot. It was miserable. It was terrible. And we had death threats. Like we had all been like, we're out here on the middle of the Capitol grounds. We're in North Dakota. It's hunting country. Everybody's got a rifle with a long range scope. So like, it was not to get too dark, but like it was, we all went into it knowing that like the next show may be your memorial show. So it was not good. It was not good. And that's what dedication our drag performers bring to these shows. And then the people who like put on the shows, the people who have the organization that's like sponsoring the show, they're just so disrespectful and demeaning to the drag performers. And I was like, absolutely not. I was like, I could just like be silent and like go off my own way and just do it. And I was like, you know what? No, let's go scorched earth. And so I posted that. And I'm also diabolical, but so like I hit post and then I locked my work computer and like put my phone in my bag and I like went down to my car. I was like, we're not going to look at that phone until we get home and we're on the couch ready to watch Days of Our Lives with our ice cream. And so I drove to the grocery store and I got a pint of Ben & Jerry's Caramel Sutra, my fave, and went home and turned on the Xbox and loaded up Days. Now, then once I opened it, I started getting messages. It was like ping, ping, ping. So I started getting like messages, comments are coming in. And so I'm trying to like heart comments and I'm trying to respond to some of them. And it's been lovely. So far, there's been so much support. I have not heard from anybody from Dakota outright. So we shall see. We'll see what they decide to do. I'm very interested because they recently on May 4th, they did this like May the 4th be with you. Like they got in on that. And, but they did this like AI slop picture. It was so like terrible AI art. And people in the community got in their comments and like blasted them. And then their like apology post was sort of like, oh, we're sorry. This is a volunteer organization. And we had a volunteer who was very excited to share something with the community. And people were just so mean. And maybe we shouldn't bully people online. So it was like, an apology that was like saying you should apologize to us. Like it was not good. So I'm interested to see because so far the former president of the board has responded. The person who organized that drag brunch where we all got death threats has responded. So many performers, so many of my wonderful, beautiful performer family have responded. So many of my friends that are trans and non-binary that I've met through the shows have responded. And so it's been kind of this like really strong outpouring of support, which has been lovely. So I'm interested to see what their response is. I'm very, very interested. It's wild. It's wild. My show director friends, like people who direct shows in other locations, have been chiming in. My drag daughter, who I've been trying to drag out of retirement for 100 years, texted me and she's like, bitch, I don't have much left, but I could put together something. Do I need to come to Bismarck and we'll put on our own show on June 13th? And I was like, is this what I had to do to get you out of retirement? It's worth it. And I was like, no, I think I'm just going to pass on Pride for this year. I'm not going to participate. Even if they tried to like apologize or whatever, the damage is done. The first thing they could do if they wanted to apologize is, because we've never had like a formal contract. That's the thing, is it's always been people I've been friends with, and it's always been on the up and up, and like I've gotten paid. And so part of me wants to be like, okay, this is my usual director pay. This is how much I typically make in tips for a show. How about before you give me your bullshit AI generated apology, how about you send me a check? How about you send me a check for how much I would have made in director pay, show pay, and tips? Then we'll talk. Then put your money where your mouth is. How about you send me that check? And then we'll maybe talk about how you are dismissive to people who have worked for your organization and have raised tens of thousands of dollars for 2 decades. Maybe then we'll talk about that. But how about you cash that check for me first? Because right now you're sounding like a whole lot of bullshit. I'm looking forward to go to Pride this year. I missed the last 2. Ooh, hopefully I feel okay. I hope you feel okay too. North Dakota's going through it when it comes to prides. Last year, Fargo had this big kerfuffle where, and I did go, and I didn't have the worst experience. Other people did, but like Fargo Pride was so disrespectful to local drag performers last year. I mean, it was really, really not good. Now, I had a little bit of a different experience because I was kind of called in at the last minute. I don't do a lot with Fargo Pride. It's a whole long history. That's another kind of thing where like Fargo always has had kind of a history of not being very great to drag performers, but people keep trying and then there's setbacks and they try again. And it's this whole thing. But last year, like a week before this big block party that they do, somebody from the Pride Collective reached out to me and they said, it would be so great if we could have a surprise cameo from you. You're so historic. People know you from the I-Beam. Like, people love you here. I don't know about that. I'm just old. But that's what happens when you become a drag queen of a certain age, that everybody calls you like legendary. And I'm like the chupacabra. Like, what? I'm a legend. I'm a cryptid. So I'm like, oh, okay. I'll be the moth woman. It's fine. And so they're like, do you want to come down and just do a song? And so they're like, what would it like? And so I was like, well, what's the offer? Because I didn't know if I wanted to do it because I know that there's been a sketchy history with Pride. The person who asked me has always been lovely to me and always has been wonderful. So I was just like, well, what's the offer? Because I thought they were going to say like, oh, we don't really have any budget for this. We just thought it would be cool. And then I could be like, oh, I'm really sorry. I appreciate you, but I just can't do it. But then he came back and he was like, we'll give you $100 and we'll get you a hotel room for the night. And I was like, I mean, for one number, I'll do it. I was like, yeah, okay. So then I was like, yeah, I'll do it. And then we all got treated pretty poorly. Now because I was only there for doing one number. So like my situation wasn't that bad. Because what happened is that they had this block party and they had Kylie Sonique Love. And she came in with like 3 performers from Minneapolis. And they were the main show. And so all the local performers got relegated to this like pre-show. So I was in that. Now everybody else was doing 2 numbers. They contacted me and asked me for 1 number. I said, that 1 number is fine. That's all I want to do. I'll come in. This is the amount, all of this kind of stuff. Well, the Kylie Sonique Love also had a meet and greet, and her meet and greet went so late that they ended up having to cut the pre-show so that they could meet her contract for when she was supposed to perform. And so most of the girls all got their second number cut. Well, that's money. So like, even if you get paid the same amount for show pay, that's tip money. That's, not representation, but it's like exposure. So you get to like perform in front of an audience. So like they bought outfits, like they bought, you know, they had all this stuff that they brought. So it was like so sketchy. And so, and then I didn't even get paid. So the two girls who came from Minneapolis both got their checks that day. And then when it came to paying the rest of us, they like, oh, we ran out of check blanks. And then I had to hound him for like 2 weeks to get my check sent out. And like the other ones, it took them a long, long time. And so it was just a bad experience. And I was like, this is on par with my experiences with Fargo Pride in the past. If I do Fargo Pride, I usually will work with one of the independent shows that's like putting stuff out. Those people I love to work with. But when it's with the like Pride Collective, there's a history there that's not comfortable. Your Sitchy kind of sucks, Janessa, but if you were thinking about exit strategy, yeah, I was kind of, and that's the thing is I had kind of thought about what if this year I just kind of surprise everybody before my last number. And I'm like, this is going to be my last show, and do some big like ballad or do some kind of like step down and like not make a big deal out of it. Like I wasn't going to go on like a farewell tour or like share, but like do a little thing to just be like, I've loved and appreciated these audiences for 2 decades. Let's say goodbye. So then to just kind of be tossed away like this is like, what a good name. Damn. Yeah. Oh, what a good name. I was caught up in my story and I forgot to look down. But yeah, so I can't believe that like last year Fargo like really got in trouble for that all those shenanigans. And they've been on this like grand apology tour for the entire year since then, trying to get people to come back and be part of Pride again. Because as much as they like disrespected the performers, everything on Pride used the local performers like on posters, on flyers, on postcards. It was all using their local performers' images to sell everything. Oh, Kylie Sonique. Yeah, Kylie Sonique Love. She was she was on season 5 of Drag Race, and then she won one of the All-Stars. I think she won the All-Star. There's so many fucking seasons of Drag Race now. Who can keep up? But I think she won the All-Stars after Jinx Monsoon won the like all winners season. So like maybe season 8 is the one. So Kylie Sonique Love. Yeah. And so she was there and she was lovely. I got to meet her. I got a picture with her. She was absolutely fabulous. She was lovely, but she was fucking late. And because she was late, all the local performers got screwed. And the board of Fargo Moorhead Pride was very dismissive of them. Like, well, we've got a contract and they're the main show. And it's like, oh, okay. And so they've been trying to like apologize, and they've been coming up with like new procedures, and they've been trying to do all this stuff to ensure it's fair and all. And it's like, we're not talking about it being fair. We're talking about it being respectful. Like you need to recognize that you're using these performers and their images to sell your events. Some of these people were at, like my sister, who I love, Betty Bang, was there, and she was kind of like the like local headliner. She, in like 3 days, did like 5 events. I mean, she was all over the place. She was in drag constantly. It was insane. Some of the other performers, they had shows and they had park events and they were in the parade, and they were doing all this shit mostly for free or being paid through other organizations that were not the Pride Collective. So Pride Collective really kind of fucked it up, and then their response has been questionable since. I'm also going to sit out Fargo Pride after that experience, because they're like, we're putting out our performer interest form now, and I'm like, I think I'll pass. I think I'll see how this goes. I think I will see how you handle this year after the flub of last year, and then we'll see if we want to. If I did do something at Fargo Pride again, it would be with one of the independent event producers. It would not be with the collective. So one of my sisters was a belly dancer and really entitled like that. Show up late, performance go long, and super snotty. Oh, I hate that kind of shit. I hate it so bad. And it happens so often. I hate to say it. I sound like this old crabby curmudgeon. So many of the younger performers, I have gotten to the point where in a lot of shows, if it becomes a problem, I will just, if I'm organizing a show, I'll tell people, I'm like, you have the show order and you can keep track of your own time. If we get to your number and I announce you and 20 seconds of the song plays and you're not on stage, we'll just skip the number. It's fine. I don't mind. You've got 2 numbers. I guess be on time for the next one. Like, I don't know what to tell you. And so I will tell them, I was like, the dirtiest word in my vocabulary is stall. Don't give me this, you've got to stall bullshit. You need to be ready for your number. And that's just the way it is. Now, I understand that sometimes costumes break at the last minute or a nail falls off and you need something. That happens. Some of these people are just not ready because they're kikiing with their friends and going to the bar and getting drinks and all this kind of shit. And I'm not having it. I'm not having it. Now, we always start a little bit late. The other thing is, like, people who want to bitch about how drag shows start late, nobody's pissy when Cher starts late. Nobody's pissy when Madonna starts late, when Lady Gaga starts late. They're not like 7:30 on the dot there. And so we give people a warm up and we come on the mic and we tell them, like, we're almost there. Like, get your drinks, get warmed up. Audiences are always late to arrive. And so we're not starting. And these shows kind of start super early anyway. They start at like, we had a new performer showcase that was always at like 8. And then they wanted our show to start at 8:30. And I was like, well, we'll see. We'll see how it goes. And I was like, 8:45 is fine. I, completely unrelated to today's trauma, I am obsessed with these Aldi waters, this pure aqua. And these are my favorite because I have a mandarin orange. And then if I run out, I have a white grape. So if any of you have been to Aldi, I love it because these pure aqua, they come in 2 sets of 4 flavors. And so they always have, there's juicy peach, black cherry, strawberry, and limeade are the 4 that's always there. They're always, sometimes they're out because these tend to be very popular. But then there's this second assortment with mandarin orange, white grape, which is the best, cherry limeade, and blackberry raspberry, I think. And those are like at a premium. And let me tell you, when Mama Champagne was here, and then on Monday morning we went to Aldi, they had like 2 boxes of this assortment. I cleaned them out of every white grape that they had. Well, Mama Champagne took 2. I let her have a couple. I was like, I'll share with you, but not the random populace. And so we cleared them out of this white grape. And I also got some of the other ones, but I was like, I can always find the other 4, but these are like, oh, I like all these. It took me a long time to get into it because their checkout process is stressful as fuck. But also now they have self-checkout, which I love. Pretty girl, too much sparkling water. I especially love because these waters, even though there's 8 different flavors, they all have the same barcode. So I found that out when I went through the regular checkout one time. She was like, just hand, because I had like 30 of them in the cart. And then I had like 20 of these other kinds of water, but I had a lot of water. I was very thirsty. And so she was like, just hand me one of them. And I was like, it's all the same? And she's like, yeah, it's all the same barcode. It's just an assortment. So like, it's all, I was like, oh my God. And then they got self-checkout. And I was like, all I have to do is when I put them into the cart, I bring the bags and I just put them in and pack them the way that I would pack them at checkout. And then I just count the number that I have. And then I just take one of them and scan that however many times. Oh my God, it's so much easier. It's so much easier. Yeah, that's a thing that they do. A lot of their stuff is, everything is in like little assortments. So like if you're going by and they have a box and there's like the same thing, but it's like 3 different flavors, all 3 of those flavors, it's an assortment. So they all have the same barcode. And so I didn't know that at first. And so I was like scanning every individual thing. And now it's like, no, if it's the same product in different flavors, it's one barcode, which I love. I hate that at my like day job when I used to support like people who sold on the platform, because like customers hate that if you're ordering online because they want to order this flavor or this color. And so when you try to put up like a colors may vary sort of thing, they're not having it. So like they don't love it, but I love it now as an Aldi shopper. I've been talking a lot at you. Thank you everybody for listening. I appreciate you. This has been a crazy day. I'm sure at some point I will have a little bit more of like a come down and like things will be a little bit more real and like we'll probably have a little bit of sadness. I mean, 2 decades is a long time to be working on something and investing in something and giving your time and your energy and your attention and your all of it, and to just like be treated like that at the end. So I'm sure I'm gonna have some point where I crash, and Dion, that's probably when I'll call you. Hello, fabulous Joe, how are you doing tonight? We're getting close to the end. I mean, I'm not like fully signing off right now, but we've kind of stopped the big stories. Today was a traumatic day. I did eat my ice cream. Yes. So I ate my ice cream and I was trying to watch Days, but at first I was like, there's so many messages. And so then I was trying to like respond to messages. And then I was like, I should see how many comments there are. And then there were like 60 comments. Then I was like, oh shit, I better go and like start liking. And so I tried to love all of the comments and I responded to some of them. Some of them were a little bit more like I appreciated them. And I was like, I get the spirit, but I was like, just for the sake of whatever's going to happen with this drama, I was like, because somebody went on and they're like, some people seem to forget that sometimes actions have consequences. And then they're like, in a Miranda Priestley voice, that's all. And so I put a love on that because I loved all the comments or whatever, but I didn't respond to that because I was like, okay, I get it. And I appreciate you. And you're right. But I was like, I'm not going to comment on that one. And so I left some comments and tried to like, and I'm sure I'm going to go back and let me see where we're at for comments now. And I knew it would be a lot and I knew I would get a lot of, and I got a response from the group. I got a response from the group. Should we have a live reading of my response back from the group? Oh, am I mentally prepared for this? Okay. It's long. Okay. Let's see what they say. We're just going to go in. We're going to let go and let God, and we're going to see what they say. Hi, Janessa. I'm Madison. I'm reaching out as part of Dakota Outright. I added you personally on Facebook, but didn't want to weird you out by messaging you there. And I think it's important I reach out on the space I help represent. While I am new and fresh, my ears are wide open to listen and to hear, and I'm hearing that our judgment was off by introducing a new MC and on very short notice on your end. Firstly, I'd like to apologize. Apologize for our judgment, decision-making, and overlooking the impact that you've made and had on this community. And also thank you for pioneering and leading the way for so many people, artists, performers, and so many more. Okay, I can already tell. So they're trying to save face because they're getting all of this. Yes, it's very polite, but I can see what they're doing. I can see that they are seeing the feedback and they are seeing that like everyone is turning against them. And so it's very like, it's very boilerplate of like, our judgment was off. We didn't think this through. Okay. There's a but coming. Yeah. Okay. So let's see. So also thank you for pioneering, leading the way for so many people, artists, and performers. Secondly, I want to thank you for being so candid, passionate, and political. Yes, I'm serious. I think everything you said is true. We suppress and stay comfortable, avoid discomfort. We have lost the fight. It goes against everything we stand for. I want to truly apologize for creating a position that left you feeling like you had to fight for your rights in a space that you should never had to. While this situation has opened my eyes to things we can do better as an organization, it has also opened my eyes to what an impactful performer and person you are. Thank you for that. I'd like to have some conversation on what it looks like to have you at Pride 2026 with us. You can message me here. I am all ears. I do know it's late, so I will touch base with you tomorrow as well. Now, I do have to say, I don't know for sure because I don't know who runs their social media. I don't think that that person is the person who sent me that AI response. I honestly don't. There is a specific person on the Dakota Outright board that has been kind of problematic over the last couple of years. And so I think, so Madison, I believe that she might even be sincere. I know she's doing damage control. I know they're like seeing the response and they're like, oh shit, we got to get a handle on this. I'm interested to, okay, now I have to go to the post and see if they've responded there. This is so wild. This sort of thing, like once a year, something weird happens on social media. And I just am like out of my depth because, like last year when the whole Kink at Pride thing on my TikTok went viral and I got like 36,000 hits or whatever it was, which is viral for me. I was like, I usually get like 300. So like, and it just is like, weird. Dawn, PR spin control. Yeah, definitely. Nice response. That's not bullshit. Maybe she's just really good at her job. Yeah, I think they probably sent her in because they're like, don't let Jay do it. Oops, was I not supposed to say who I think is the problem? It's Jay. Sorry about it. PR spin control. Even if she didn't send it, she had to be aware of it in order to apologize for specific things. I'm sure they had, like, when this went up, I mean, because again, I did send it to people. I was like, I want this to have an impact, because if nothing else, I want there to be conversation, because this is not the first time that I've heard that this board has, like, people in the community are not really happy. And I was like, if this is what it takes to get a conversation, get some change, I'm sure they had to, like, scramble, because they do a lot of their organizing lately on Discord. And I think somebody hit the Discord and was like situation room now. Yeah, so she had to be, I'm sure she read it, and I'm sure she went over it. Maybe she's the fixer, like Olivia Pope. Yeah, I think she's absolutely, I think they've brought her in because they're like, don't let that person handle it again. Like, maybe don't have them. Again, I don't know if that's who it is, but I just, from my experiences and from what I know of the people that I do know that are on the board, that's my impression. I get a feeling that this is a very different person. I'm just going to say, since I did this, that's the thing about Facebook, is now they know I read it. I'm just going to say thanks for reaching out. My big fat fingers. Thanks for reaching out. Let's talk tomorrow when things have settled a bit. Non-committal. I'm willing to talk, but I'm not giving. Let's see what it would look like. Oh, you have no idea what kind of quote I'm going to ask for if you think I'm coming to Pride now. You better get that checkbook out. Yeah, that's what my initial thought is, even if they apologize, even if they grovel, I think that for me, for my, like, just because of, like, the reason that was given, all this kind of stuff, is I'm just like, I feel like I should not be a part of Pride this year. And I think that that should be my statement to people in the community. But yeah, so I would be open to discussing future, but I don't think, we'll see what she says. Well, I never say never, because I never really know, but I'm going to assume that we're a no. Let's see where we're at. I was going here to see, like, where we're at for, like, comments and stuff, because I think I was at 65 when I started the live stream, and some of it is me commenting back. 15 shares. We're at 15 shares. Where are we at for comments? Does it tell me? It doesn't tell me the number anymore. It doesn't give me the number. Let me see how many new ones, because I should be able to scan pretty quickly. Because all of the ones I've seen, so there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Oh, it has to load. As I'm scrolling, I have to load. 7. There's 7 new comments since I started this live stream. Interesting. They just got back. Thanks to you for getting back to me. Yes, that sounds great. Talk to you tomorrow. All right. Yeah, they fired you today and are asking you back the same day. They would not have asked me back if this had not blown up the way that it has. And I'm not, I mean, how do I say this? I constructed that post in a way that I knew it would get reactions. And so I'm not surprised that it's blowing up, and I'm not surprised, but I also was like, I never really know what kind of response is going to, like, it's going to blow up. But, like, everybody could have said, like, you're kind of on it, girl. Like, you're making a lot out of this. So don't worry about it. They might have read that response and said, this is fine. They were polite. They were nice through the whole thing. Because the tone was nice. ChatGPT, Claude, whatever AI slop they used for this, the tone is nice. That's not what I have a problem with gratitude and respect. It's that the words are bullshit. There was no gratitude. There was no respect. And to say that the space needed to be protected from my commentary, I was like, then let's look at what you are protecting people from. Because what you're protecting people from is having to face their own biases, their own prejudices, and the fact that so many white queers are bootlicking this administration, and it drives me fucking crazy. And so I was like, I will absolutely never, I will never be the one. Never, never. Those things that say like, oh, you'll get more conservative as you get older. I'm almost 50 and I'm like starting to think about like, do I need to Google how to make Molotov cocktails? Like we're going in the wrong direction and I'm ready to blow shit up. Like for legal reasons, that is a joke. I'm not actually making Molotov cocktails or blowing anything up, but you know what I'm saying? Like I'm getting more and more like more radicalized in my old age. I'm not getting more conservative. I think we should eat the rich. I think if we just ate one of them, again, for legal reasons, that's a joke. I'm not going to eat a billionaire, but I empathize with anyone who does. Dion, I'd say wait a week to talk. Need more time to process. The only problem is that I don't have patience like that. I don't have patience at all. I don't have patience. Yeah, you said LGBT, no queers, and hell yeah, I'll never be more conservative. Yeah, that's what I don't get. Like the people who start those things where they're like LGB, no T. And it's like, tell me you don't know anything about our history as a community and as a movement without telling me you don't know anything about our history. Without trans people of color, queer people would be nowhere. Like queer people would be nowhere because all the like whitewashed versions of Stonewall that they try to put out there are disgusting. It was primarily Black and brown, Puerto Rican, queer, trans, non-binary people who started the Stonewall Rebellion. And that's the only reason we have the rights that we have. Period. End of story. That's not a debate. That's not a viewpoint that I'm putting out there for discussion. It's not everybody gets to have an opinion. That is factual information. That is not a discussion. And I'm not willing to entertain a discussion with anybody who wants to give me their like whitewashed bullshit. I don't want it. I don't care. I'm not here for it. Give it to somebody else. Go pedal crazy elsewhere. We're all stocked up here. Like, I don't need it. I don't need it. I don't need it at all. And so like that kind of shit, when you are like, oh, we need to make this safe space for everyone. No, we don't. No, we don't. No, we don't. If you're a white, queer conservative, we don't have to make this space comfortable and safe for you because you are making the world unsafe for everyone else in your community. You are banking on your white privilege coming through and protecting you from the worst of it. And fuck you if you do that. None of you people who are watching, I know the people who are watching here are lovely. Unless we get any random trolls. We haven't had any random trolls yet. I might be saying fuck you to those people, but I know I'm not saying that to you, my lovely, lovely people that are here. But you know what I'm saying? Like if somebody believes that, fuck them. Fuck them all day long. Those people can fuck off. They can fuck right off. I cannot fathom it. I cannot stand it, and I will not tolerate it, and I will not placate to that. So that's the thing, is because that's what I talked about with Nancy, and Nancy had talked about it with our friend Corey. She's best friends with Corey, who's the one who invited me the first time for their drag shows. And we've all said the same thing. Is we both, like, as we were talking about this, we all came around to the same thing. Is like, if they really are getting all of this feedback of, oh, it's too political, it's too this or whatever, there was a different way to handle it. They could have come to me and said, we would like you to do this show differently. We would like you to not bring up this political stuff. We'd like you to not talk about this or not talk about that, blah, blah, blah. They could have brought their whole perspective to me of this is what we want. Because we are, we never had like a formal contract, but my production company, Champagne Dreams Productions and Dakota Outright, have been working on these shows together. And so we have this like verbal contract, this understanding that we work on these shows together. They put together the like logistics, and I book the talent. I, come up with themes, and I host the shows, and I do my commentary. They could have come to me and said, do this. And I could have said, no. And then if they decided that they weren't willing to live with that, they could have said, well, then you know what? Maybe this is not a good fit any longer. And that would have been a very different conversation. I still probably would have called it out and been like, oh, they don't like that drag, which is inherently political, is being political. So it still would have been a conversation, but to handle it this way and say that, I was like, no, not today. Not today. Not today. Not the day that I've been having. Certainly. Broad hypothetical you. Yes, I get impassioned and I sort of say that. And so I always feel like you guys are so lovely and wonderful. And you're just like listening to me rant. So I'm not saying it to you, just saying it like in general. If you denied someone's rights, you said you don't believe in human rights, and you can taste the wrath yourself. Exactly. But like you said, not us. Yeah, no, and that's the thing is I've always known that being political, being a loudmouth, all that kind of stuff, I know that it's cost me opportunities. I know that there are shows that I have never been invited to because people think I'm too volatile. Now, if I'm just performing and I'm not hosting, my numbers are not like that. Like, obviously, I'm not like holding a sign that says Republican, like yet. And where things are going, who knows? Got to get the digs in while I can before they take me off to the camps. But, and so, sorry, that got dark again, but not entirely unrealistic. I mean, we have concentration camps in this country, so TikTok. But it's getting so dark. It's getting so dark. What was I even saying? But like, I know that that's cost me opportunities. And I always tell young performers, I'm like, here's the deal. When you, and I wrote about this on Genestogy.com. I have a whole Drag 101 where I'm trying to like give information to like new performers who want to start. And I gave them my like advice from a show director. And one thing I said is that the only thing better than being invited to perform somewhere is being invited back. Because a lot of people will book you for a first show, right? Like it's not very, I won't say that because there's a lot of competition. And if you're coming into like a new market, there's all these kinds of rules and all that kind of stuff. But it's much easier to get a first invitation than it is to get a second invitation. Because if you come in and you're late and you're rude and you're not prepared, or you kind of like are nasty to people, or you're standoffish or whatever, like people don't want to work with people that are gross and icky. I don't care how many death drops you can do. I don't care how skinny and snatched your waist is. I don't care if you, this is what I always say as a show director. If you bring me problems, I'm going to be the solution. I don't have time for it. I'm old, I'm cranky, I'm cantankerous, and I just want to get back to my hotel room and take my Tylenol PM. That's all I want in the world. And so if you're bringing me problems and not solutions, I'm not going to book you again. I'm just not. I don't care how many pageant titles, the fucking pageant people drive me nuts. I don't care how many pageant titles you have. If you bring problems, I'm going to be the solution. That's it. Bring me solutions, not problems. Be helpful, be kind, be, open to meeting new people. These are your colleagues. And these are, I know I sound very corporate sometimes and I'm so sorry, but like, these are your colleagues. These are your coworkers. And so if you went into any job and were just nasty like that, nobody would put up with that. Why would that be any different when you're booked for a job at a bar or at a theater or at a whatever location the show is in? It makes no sense to me. Exactly. So to fire you in order to protect the community is such bullshit. Yeah. You go hard for the community. I feel the same. I feel some type of way. They insinuated you're not. Yeah. And the only person I'm not safe to is conservatives. And to that I say, good. Good. The worst insult, you get all these people, like I always have to laugh. Sometimes I'll post TikToks where I make jokes about how like I've been getting nasty comments on TikTok from time to time. People even when they come in the lives and they're like gay. And I'm like, yeah, but you got to say it with the hand gesture, like gay, or queer or pervert and all this kind of, I'm like, oh, daddy, whatever. The worst thing you could call me is like a sympathizer with conservatives. That's what I never want to be called. Like if conservatives feel uncomfortable at my show, good. I will spend all day yucking that yum. All motherfucking day, bitch. Like I would love nothing more. That's the biggest insult. Like all these people who think it's calling me fag or calling me queer, calling me perv, whatever, groomer, like all that kind of bullshit. The worst thing you could call me is a conservative or a friend of conservatives. Get out of here. That's when we're going to take the earrings off. We're going to take the wig off and we're going to throw some punches. Like we're going to fight in this Waffle House parking lot. It's going to happen. It's going down. I'm yelling timber. You better move. You better dance, bitch. Like it's going down. Do not call me that. That's the worst of the worst. Ugh. That's wild. That's wild. I was wondering, I was like, what am I going to get? What am I going to get? Thank you for getting back to me. Yes, sounds great. Talk to you tomorrow. Okay. Interesting. I'm sure they're eating crow. I'm sure that, let me see. Okay. Now we're dishing tea a little bit. But I feel like I've earned this. I feel like how I was treated was pretty nasty. And so like, if I want to take a little bit of joy in this downfall, I've earned it. Because I want to see if they put in, no new posts. Okay. I was like, let's see if there's any change to the, is my mom following? My mom is following Dakota outright. I wonder if that's new or if she followed them because of the drama. Maybe she did. She's lovely and she supports me, so she might have already followed Dakota outright. But so what a day. What a day. With all the shit that I have to do, and then to have those two things all happen on the same day is wild to me. It's wild to me. And like, and honestly, like that conversation happened so soon after I like got off my like texting conversation with my friend. I'm just like, yeah, my mom is lovely. My mom is wonderful. She's such a great supporter. We've earned it. Like we've had some tough times and we've worked through it. And like, we really have what I think is a really wonderful, so Mama Champagne, when you watch this, she's going to cry. She's a crier. And I have to tease her a little bit, but I'm really proud of where we've gotten to in our relationship now. So yeah. And I recognize that not everybody has that. I get it. Can we have a moment also? Maybe I'm in a mood to rant today because this is something I saw, because I do appreciate those posts like with Mother's Day. And they're like, this is a post for, mothers who have lost a child, mothers who have had miscarriages, mothers who haven't been able to get pregnant. If you're an adoptive mother, if you're a stepmother, all that kind of stuff. I'm here for it. There's all different kinds of mother figures. If your fur babies are who you're a mother to, whether it's just because that's how you choose to be, or whether like you just chose it, you don't want to have kids and you wanted to have dogs, or if like you couldn't have kids, so you have dogs, like all that. I'm all about those posts, but I saw one today that like one of the things that they included was women who chose not to have children. And I was like, wait a minute. I was like, there are certain moments where I just have like this moment where I'm just like, maybe I am becoming more conservative. Like I'm only conservative about little minute things that really don't matter that much. But when I saw they were like, Happy Mother's Day to people who've chosen not to have children, I'm like, but that's the exact opposite of what this is. Like, not every day is for you, bean soup. Like, it's just not for you. Like, I get the like people who don't have kids because they've tried and they've wanted to and it hasn't worked out, or there's been a miscarriage, or they SIDS, or I get all of that. Like that I'm on board with. But like people who've just chosen not to have kids, I was like, then they've chosen not to be a mom. So can we not wish them Happy Mother's Day? That's one of those things where like just weird little things will like set me off. Like when I found out there was a twink flag. Oh my God. Can I tell you the way that like, because I'm always like, I'm here, I'm queer, I'm radical, I'm super left. And then it was like twink flag, and it, like a red hat like materialized on my head. And I was like, what are these queers up to? I was like, a twink flag? A twink flag? What? And whomst? What? I was like, you don't get a flag for being skinny. That's like being skinny and young. There's no flag for that. Like, fuck you. Fuck all the way off. I was like, am I turning into Meg all of a sudden? What's going on? Oh, I got the most lovely Mother's Day messages. Oh, I'm so happy to hear that. Good. They thought you were going to roll over into a fetal position, suck your thumb. It's obvious they didn't know who you were messing with. They fucked around. They sure did. I don't like to take pleasure in the downfall of queer people and queer organizations. But like I said, things have been problematic for a while, and I hope that this leads to positive change. Because again, I've put 20 years of work into this organization through these shows. I would like to see it continue, and I would like to see it be successful, but it's not in a place right now where it's doing that. It says, someone chose not to have children. I'm in no way a mama. By the way, hey, Miss J, hello. Saw your post a few minutes. Thank you. Yeah, we talked through the whole story. So this is one. I know that these lives sometimes get long, and so like replay crew, we do really appreciate you. But if people don't do the replay, I kind of understand. This is a good one to watch, though, Kayla. We gave the whole story. We did all the tea. Hey, psychopath. Hey, yes. Hello, Kayla. Hello. Dion's ready to knuckle up. Yeah. Hey, no, I didn't want and didn't have kids, but all that youth I counseled. So, and that's the thing. Like, if there's some sort of like people who are mother figures, and they talked about like the mothers of like ballroom houses and stuff, like trans mothers and things like that, like people who are mother figures to abandoned queer people. I'm here for all of that. But when it just says like women who chose not to have kids, I'm like, I'm going to need some context. I'm going to need some citations in MLA format because I was an English major. No APA for me. I'm going to need MLA. Thank you. I'm going to need some sources to give me some like, I'm going to need something for this because I can't accept this at face value. I don't believe this term paper. I'm going to need to see your sources. I'm going to need an annotated bibliography. Thank you. Sorry for misspelling your name. Oh, that's all right. I'm just saying like, it's all right. And I'm not the person whose name you spelled wrong. But yeah, Kayla's very low-key. Yeah, not a problem. I'm only crying a little. Dabbing your eyes with a soft tissue. Yes. What a day, y'all. Like there is this like certain amount of adrenaline, and because there's been so many messages and like people have been lovely, and so it's all this like emotional stuff. Yes, MLA, I'm here for it. Keep it alive. I had to do all my work in MLA. Everybody else has to as well. Although there were a couple of classes that I took where they said APA, and I just didn't really know APA because I'd always done MLA, and I think I just did MLA, and they never said anything about it. So they weren't looking that close. I'll try to remember your Kayla. That's a nice name. Yes, the Kayla and CJ. We've got a lot of people that have different handles on here. So yeah, we appreciate that. The kiddo adopted adult now. Thank me again for stepping up to be his second mom, but he mentioned his deceased birth mother by name. I was just floored. Yeah, that's family stuff is tough. And that's I don't have that issue at Mother's Day. I have that issue at Father's Day. And that's one thing. I'm not going to say it's a regret, but I do sometimes feel a little bad that like my mom would always like encourage me to send my grandfather a card on Father's Day, but I just never like Father's Day was tough for me because my relationship with my father while he was still alive was not good. And so like, even though my grandpa was a fantastic father figure, he was a fantastic, male role model and all that kind of stuff. Like he was great. I'm not saying that, but I just like that day, I just was like, I don't want to think about this day. I don't want to engage with this day. And so like, I love and appreciate him, but let's Google when Grandparents' Day is. It'll send a card or something. But like, I couldn't do Father's Day. That was not the thing. Not the thing. So, all right. What time is it? What even? It's 12. Oh shit! It's 12:44. I didn't realize I started the stream that late. It's been an hour and 18 minutes. All right, I'm gonna get going. Thank you, everybody. I'm gonna finish off this Mandarin water, and I'm gonna go to bed because I have to be right back at work again tomorrow. Thank you, everybody, for listening and being a fantastic sounding board. I appreciate all of you stopped in. Replay crew, you rock. Leave your thoughts on all this drama down below. Those of you who are in the live chat, I would love it if you would circle back and leave a comment, feed the algorithm, help me feed me Seymour. Someday I'll get it right. I should know that it's like on this side physically, but for some reason I just can't. There it is. Feed me, Seymour. While you are down there leaving me that comment, don't forget to give me that thumbs up to tell me that you appreciated this video. Or if you are from Dakota outright and you hate my face, then go ahead and give me that thumbs down. It is all engagement. The algorithm isn't a picky bitch, and neither am I. And while you're down there, don't forget to hit that subscribe button, become part of the family, and hit that bell icon so you'll be notified of all future uploads. Whenever I go live or have a video, I do try to have one video or live per week at least. And sometimes, if you are lucky, if you are very lucky, you might even get a bonus video. Ooh, fire-terrific. Drama. If you'd like to chat, banter, or commiserate between uploads, all of my social media will be linked down in the description box below, including a link to my website. Just pretend it's there, The World of Champagne at janessaj.com. Thank you so much for watching. I love and appreciate everybody. Thank you, everybody, for the love and the hugs. I absolutely appreciate it. I'm going to go back through these comments. It's a little overwhelming, but it's been so lovely to see people just be so kind and so lovely and appreciative. And so I really do love and appreciate all of this. It really, because today has been a hard day. I like to joke about things. I always say you got to laugh or you'll cry. And so I would rather laugh. And so I come on here and I laugh and I joke. But today has been a hard day. And I absolutely do love and appreciate all of you for being here because it does bolster my spirits a little bit. So thank you, everybody. And until I see you again, bye. And now the awkward over here. Okay. There we go. Okay, bye.